Well, hello everybody. How are you this evening? We are going to make some chicken and dumplings. And let me close my laundry room here. Got all my stuff hanging up. Look, all trashy looking. All a mess. Anyways, okay, so we're gonna make some chicken and dumplings. I have already in my pressure cooker put just a bunch of random chicken that I had in the freezer. A pack of thighs. I had a bag of some frozen wings that I didn't use from New Year's. Had just some random leftover chicken. Threw it all in here. At this point, it's just chicken. I put a little vegetable oil, browned some of the boneless pieces because they don't have as much flavor in them as the in bone pieces. So I seared them a little bit on my searing mode. Filled my pot just level with the chicken with water, and we're going to put some seasons in here to kind of make it real happy and taste really yummy. Sid is not a fan of vegetables, so this will be my first chicken and dumplings without vegetables. So all experimental. If you don't see this video, you know it went down. Okay, I'm going to get some of our traditional seasonings that we're going to use. Want to be sure to season well our chicken. Last thing you want is bland chicken and dumplings when you get to the end. Where is the oregano? There it is. Okay. Alright. I think I've got just about all the things that I've wanted to put in here. I'm going to just put a good, about 2 teaspoons of salt in here. I'm not using a chicken broth sodium in it, so I can afford to put a little bit of extra salt. Let me get my spoon here. Cooperate with this pepper now. I like a lot of pepper in my chicken and dumplings because there's going to be a lot of bread in it. It's going to soak up. Alright, we did a brief pause so Sid could use some of the kitchen. Okay, so in the pot already we have our salt. We have our water filled to the rim of the pressure cooker. We have all our different little chicken parts, some wings, some thighs. Got some things. I put salt and pepper. I'm gonna put about a half. This is a tablespoon, but I use about half a tablespoon of oregano. Pretty pungent, powerful vegetable. Now we'll get a smaller one. Now I like to add a little poultry seasoning to anything with chicken in it, which has a lot of the ingredients that I use, like cumin and other stuff like that. But just in case we miss something, I don't think you can ever over season chicken. It's a little bland, just on its own. It can be a dry meat. So just a couple of shakes of cumin, since there's already a little bit in the poultry season. And then I'm going to add some garlic powder. I'm going to add 2 bay leaves, which we'll get out later. One. And we'll fish those out later, so we don't leave those in there. And then I'm just going to use a little dash, a pinch, because I don't like to, and if I would, I'd chop it up, but rosemary, it was going to boil down so much in this anyway. So already we have our water starting to bubble just a little bit in here because it's in searing mode. So I'm going to just kind of swish this around a little bit to let some of all those seasonings get down into all the meat, down into the bottom of the pan. And then I'm going to go ahead and pressurize this. And I'm going to cook it for about 25 minutes. I'm going to debone and deskin the chicken at some point, but I'm going to reserve the stock that's in this pan. However, as we cook it, you'll see a lot of that white film bowl to the top. So when we first open the pressure cooker, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to skim the top of the water to get out any of that additional like fat that's floated to the top or the residual. So I'm going to go ahead and put our lid on. Now I have, what you guys don't know, we did have some issues prior with my pressure cooker sealing, and after many phone calls back and forth with the manufacturer, did discover that the seal on the one I had before was much too big for the pot. It was the wrong size seal. So I was having these frustrating difficulties, and I wasn't a happy customer. So they said, go exchange your machine. So I had 45 days to do that on JCPenney's. So I had day 45. I went and exchanged my machine. I have not had an occasion of it failing to seal since. So I think that our issue had been is that our seal was the wrong size. Because now that I look at it, it's even all the way around. I'm not having to check it and clean it and do it. I mean, I clean it, but I'm not having to fuss over it as much as I did before. So I'm extremely happy about that. So we've got this set here. And we're going to turn it off and turn it back on and adjust our time to 25 minutes. Now I know that's putting it back on heating mode again, which I'm going to make sure it's on steam. It's in the locked position. And we're going to let it pressure up. It's not going to hurt anything for it to boil, just a little bit extra. Put all these spices away so Sid can come in here and we can get his fruit and things ready for work tomorrow. He's pulling long shifts, so it's why we're doing a little hearty chicken and dumplings for him for working long shifts. So wish us luck. Be back with you as soon as this baby pressurizes and let you know how long it took. Well, so we are pressured. We've got 5 minutes left. We have been cooking away. And actually, we haven't. Been sitting in the living room, emailing back and forth and playing on Facebook and talking to friends. It pressured just fine, just as expected with my new and improved Power Pressure Cooker XL. So we're getting my love back. I had some hate for you, sorry. Sid keeps turning off my backlight. Doesn't know about good lighting and camera filming kind of thing. He just doesn't appreciate it. So, guess what I found out today? My new apron set is getting mailed tomorrow. Super excited to blast that. Donnie, you're gonna love it. It says Patriots all over it. Not. So anyway. So we're gonna, when this goes off, we're gonna let steam out. We're going to let it cool. I'm going to go ahead and get a colander. I'm going to get a skimmer. We're going to get some tools. We're going to do some work. But at the end of the day, yummy, anti-vegetable chicken and dumplings for he who works 16 hours a day. So I guess we can live without a carrot this time. Alright, so there are probably other people out there who are anti-onion, anti-vegetable, anti-grown from the ground. Lettuce and tomato on Taco Tuesday is about to close to a salad as we're going to get Sid to eat. But we can work with it. Thank God for onion powder. So we are going to continue to wait 3 more minutes for our pressure cooker. We are then going to be right back with you while you watch how I process out chicken when saving the broth, because this broth is like worth mints more than broth because the chicken wings were bone in. So that bone made some hearty broth. So we're going to add some wonderful things into it to help it out. We're going to add some thickenings. We're going to add some unconventional items to make our dumplings. Always good little cheap tricks, because you can make a mess of 100 dishes to make something you can buy in a can for 99 cents and for half the price. So yes, I'm going to cheat a little on this meal, but it's okay because it's going to be delicious, it's going to be nutritious, and altogether, I mean, even with this cooking time being 25 minutes, prep time was 6, throwing it in, maybe another 10. We're going to say maybe 30 minutes total actual cooking involved in making a homemade chicken and dumpling meal that's going to make your hubby happy, make you happy, make a great meal, and a great YouTube video. Catch you next time. Guess what time it is? Hear that noise? Yes, that is us de-steaming our pressure cooker. And I have myself a little pan here where I'm going to use for my waste. I have myself a good, my all-purpose and passed down and well-loved double boiler that my boiler pan that I don't use as quite often as I used to. However, when I had my faulty pressure cooker, I did take my roast, which I did not film, and transfer it from here to this to slow roast it for 10 long hours, and it turned into the most delicious, savory, fall apart roast in the world. So we will be making that for you later in the week, because I have another one in the freezer that I got at that great price. So we're almost unpressured. I have my little scooper that came with my, I got a new one. Yeah. So I also have my little cup that came with it. Oh, cute. You know, all my little pieces. But I was kind enough and gracious to give back the ones I got before. This is my skimmer basket I'm going to use to take any impurities off the top of the water that I don't want to keep in my chicken and dumplings. Some of our process we're going to cook with the lid open, and some we're going to cook under pressure. So we have a couple of processes going on here, and super excited. So if for any reason this does not hit the air, it's because it didn't turn out well. Okay, I had to pause that to turn the channel because the voice was on again. Sid stingily didn't share that with me. We don't really often. We've this year just gone crazy with the whole American Idol, and now The Voice. We're going to drain our lid. All the liquid get out of there. Yummy, yummy, yummy. Okay, so we're going to go into our water just a little bit and pull out any of what we can find that might be some of the herbs that didn't cook down, might taste grainy, and any other pieces of the fat. And our bay leaf. Got that out of there. Got one more to find. It will come here shortly. So, oh, the broth smells so delicious. Okay, so we are now going to start scooping out our vegetables, our chicken. So we have some that have bone, some that don't. We're going to remove it all from the stock, which we still have on warm because we want it to be nice and warm when we're ready. We're going to put all of our yummy chicken into this pan so we can start deboning and some of this and then taking skin off of what is boneless. Don't want big clumps of skin or bristle or extra. We just want some juicy chicken meat to make our chicken and dumplings with. And I had to use quite a bit of chicken, more than I would normally use for chicken and dumplings, because I'm not using vegetables. So had to make sure that we had that area covered. Okay, so I think we're good here. We got no fat, no bristle. We just got pure chicken stock. I can give you a little just a picture of that there, and it messed up our video. Alright, so user error. Here we go again. 2-part video. Chicken stock, boiled chicken. Now we're back to chicken and dumplings. Well, so catch you up. Reach for 25 minutes. Boiled chicken. We now have the broth. We now have the chicken separated. We've taken out some impurities. We now have a wonderful, wonderful homemade chicken stock in our pressure cooker. 25 minutes, odds and ends. I had some wings, had some thighs, had some just different leftover little single meal item, different chicken items that I had purchased over the time. I just took all the chicken I could find in my freezer and threw it in the pressure cooker. 25 minutes. Water, thyme, oregano, garlic, salt. I'll make you a list at the bottom. Salt, pepper, bay leaves, just poultry seasoning, a little cumin, and the normal accoutrement that you would season chicken with. It smells delicious. It's gonna be great. So let me grab some pork. So the chicken is still pretty hot, but I am going to go ahead and start to debone it. I'm going to, hold on. Trying to find a way to put you a little closer to the action so that you can kind of see a little what's going on here. We have our chicken here, so I'm going to take that chicken and I'm going to be separating it. And then when I first start this, all I'm worried about is just getting meat, the other bay leaf, score. Okay, so and there were two, so I know I got them all. And just, taking chicken bone, bristle, everything that's not, and meat, shredding that while I'm at the process and just kind of going crazy with it. Because I did use some wings, there's a lot of bone in here, there's a lot of waist part, there's skin, there's things, but because I cooked it in the pressure cooker and it's so tender, it is literally, I'm smashing it like mashed potatoes. Like, get a view of this, like, we're literally, it's like mashing potatoes, like, it's falling apart so easily that I'm not going to have a bit of problems sort through this and come out with just some delicious chicken. It'll work. Pulling the bones out, whatever, but at the end of the day, well worth it. So I have some that were skinless thighs. Those, I can go ahead and put the skinless thigh meat right back into there. When I get a hold of one of those, right back in there. They have no bone in them. They have no. So I'm putting those right back into the seasoning. When I find some big pieces, they'll go right back in. So not only am I just pulling out what I don't want, I'm dividing out what I do want as well at the same time. So we're kind of divide and conquer. Like, take out the good and then pick out the bad. And so we are kind of doubling our efforts. So I have bones. So we were just talking about how I have getting so much joy out of making these YouTube videos. I love to cook. I'm not going to say I'm the best cook, but I make my hubby happy, and most of his break room usually, but we end up with tons and tons of leftover food, which I was supposed to make this last night, but we did a leftover night instead, and used up some of the enchilada casserole that I made. Also used up, and we did a hamburger helper night, which I don't know if I've mentioned or if I've publicized, but I make it in the pressure cooker XL, and I augment the recipe just a tad bit, but it makes it 100% different. It's not anything like a box meal, but there are occasions when we're home late or he's working 16 hours. We have just, life things. Driving into town. We live in Lake Jackson, Texas. Technically. And so we're quite far from town. So if we have to go to Houston, it's a day's trip. It's a huge, commitment to go all the way up to Houston. So we occasionally have to, make a rush meal. So we'll grab a box very once in a while, maybe once in a month. It's not often, but I found that if I use this pressure cooker, cut down some of the cooking time, of course, but it makes infusions into whatever pasta might be in the recipe, or whatever kind of seasonings are in it, the cheese sauces, or the, whatever. I will mix them with cold milk. I'll make them, pre-make them before pouring them into the pan, and I'll do some little extra things. But you can put the dry pasta, you can put everything in here at once. I just brown the meat right in here, drain it. I'll cook it on 5 minutes from frozen, drain the pound of meat, and then throw all the other ingredients in, and poof, you have 10 minutes later you have Hamburger Helper cooked, and with some little flares and flavor extras. And I think we all have to have those go-to meals that are not chef worthy but are family worthy and enjoyed, and so we are still a long ways from having this sorted, but we are making progress because we've got most of the bone out. You hear the voice in the background? Trying to kind of watch both. You can get in this conversation. I 100% believe that I can be the guy to help you with that. I hadn't watched The Voice before this year, really, and didn't realize that the judges competed to make teams from the vocalists, which was an interesting twist because, kind of the American Idol, where it was all the judges' decisions to pick who, but for them to pick their own mentor, if the situation doesn't work out, they've kind of had a little more, I would say, take in their own fate. Like, wasn't just all decided by someone else, just kind of they have a little bit of more input into the outcome of the show, picking your own coach. It's kind of nice. And I think everybody wants to be on Pharrell's team this year. I'm not sure, but he's getting quite a team here. We are getting some serious yumminess going on in this pot. So I'm kind of taking out some of the gristle, like that's at the end of the wings, where the tip of the bone, kind of thing. Just trying to stick with meat since we have so much of it. It is not the cleanest job. So I really want to take some time, a little extra time, because I know that is a nasty thing to bite into in a soup kind of format, like in a casserole type. Get a big bite full of gristle or a piece of skin or something. It's not a happy thing. So I'm being a little extra careful here, going through everything as with a little expressness. I want to be here for the whole entire evening sorting chicken parts, but if we get a good percentage of them out of there, I think we've done a good job. Okay. Chicken is a fun product. I should have just boiled the whole chicken. Would have made it a lot easier, but I had the stuff, and let's clean out the freezer. Put some fresh stuff in there. Interesting stuff that I can make. New recipes. We're doing seafood this week, guys. I have crab. I'm doing a salmon, crab, and shrimp meal this week. Yes, I will be filming. So that will be fun stuff for everyone. I'm not sure. I'm not a seafood lover, but I have been told It is yummy deliciousness. So we continue to clean here. I'm trying to go as fast as I can because my fingers are too dirty. Let's turn off the camera. So, finding the good big giant pieces of chicken here. You can tell a lot of really good stuff and just pull it out and then go through the little gooey. So we're getting down to the bottom of the barrel, and I feel like I'm throwing a little more away than I should, but I think we have quite a bit of chicken in here. So if I have to lose a few good quality pieces as casualties of express cooking, I apologize to you, Mr. Chicken. It's not my intention. We're getting down to the bottom here. Lots of little bristly points. Little skin here, if we want any of that. Alright, so here we go. The video recorder decided we had recorded our maximum recording time. Not sure where that setting came from, but we'll surely find out. Okay, so got some storms coming our way. Those of you who live in Texas know that we are so having some good hearty food here is not probably a bad plan, considering we could be camping here for a while, next couple of days. We're right on the coast, so usually anything coming up off the Gulf gets us pretty good. The town has actually gotten smaller since I've gotten older. Maybe I'm just getting bigger. I don't really know which one. My parents separated early in my childhood, and I was raised with my grandparents. So I think we're pretty good. So he would bring all the PA system, and we set up in front. And we will might pick through this a little bit later, but for the most part, I think I got about 99% viable chicken product right up here, and more than plenty to make our chicken and dumplings lovely and delicious. I work 6 days a week, hot in the summer, freezing in the wintertime. It completely consumed my life. I've been juggling trying to play music at the same time. My boss gave me an ultimatum: you can either work or you can play music. You can't do both. I told him that I would just have to do music. Alright, so the last little bit of chicken here. I think we got pretty much 99% of what we didn't want in our chicken, so quite a bit there. Pull it out. So I'm going to wash my hands real quick. Okay, so we're going to turn this back on beef so that we can let this start to thicken up a little bit. We want it to start to get to a simmer, so we can start putting our dumplings in there. We're going to put a little bit of thickening stuff in there. So let me get So I'm going to add what I only have is a big, huge can of cream of chicken soup because I use it for my chicken and rice meal. But we're going to use some of it for our chicken and rice meal. I'm going to use a lot of it, so I'm going to reserve about half of it in another container. But it will help give us a little bit of. Alright, so a little bit of thickness to our Alright, so we're going to make roux. So I've got some cornstarch here because I only added just a tiny bit of that. So I want to make sure that we get a nice thick, creamy sauce. And the dumplings will do some of that. A little some of that for me. So I'm going to do 2 teaspoons of cornstarch and half a cup of milk. And I'm going to put it in early because a lot of people do it at the end. I want to know how much dumplings thickening, and then so I can thin it down if it gets too thick. And we're not like working at the end of our rope here, so we're. I wanted to make sure that you knew that no matter whoever turned around next, that I thought that first, and I really saw what needed to be seen before that dude. Okay, so give me just a second. We're gonna start on our dumplings. Okay, so you can use just about any kind of a dough product that you want to use. Biscuits. I've had some people use croissants. I've seen people use. I'm going to use a biscuit mix. And we're going to use that to make our dumplings, but we're not going to use the biscuit type. We're going to cut them ourselves. So we're going to make them in balls versus biscuits. And so we're waiting now for our stuff to try to thicken up. But while we're doing that, we're going to make our dumplings. So I make them about, let's say, you know, let's say there's a tablespoon. About a tablespoon size. So I'm just going to tear it off, make it some different sizes. We're going to get them all kind of doughy and delicious. They don't have to be perfect. They don't have to be, sometimes I cut them in strips. Just any kind of a dough product will work. Some people make it with a biscuit. I just find it's faster this way, and it's all the exact same ingredients with about half as much of them. This is a flaky biscuit, so that's why I'm kind of trying to gum it up a little bit. It will give it a lot of rise, but I don't want it to flake up too much. We just don't want dumplings. So I'm going to put you up here higher up on the counter just trying to see the dumpling process in a minute. But it's going to be so delicious. I can't wait. And I wish it would just boil already. Sid wants me to turn off the camera. Sid, why would you like me to turn off the camera? Sid, why would you like me to turn off the camera? Why would you like me to turn off the camera? Why would you like me to turn off the camera? Would you like to come into the kitchen? Well, come into the kitchen. Say hi, everybody, Sid.
No.
Come say hi.
I'm not a movie star like you.
You're not a movie star. It's only YouTube. Say hi, YouTube.
But, I do got to reach around, show people this tattoo.
No, go show Donnie. Make sure he gets a good view of that.
Oh, yeah. Check it out, Donnie.
Donnie, I know you subscribe. Okay. I'm going to pause you for a minute so you can get in the freezer. Alright, guys. We got our dumplings. We got Sid in the kitchen acting a fool. But he needs to buy me a camera that I can tilt. I think if I'm gonna be making videos, I need to have a camera that I can tilt, because I have times when I want you to see inside the pressure cooker or inside whatever I'm making, and I don't have a way to tilt it without it falling. So, trying my best here. So this is my trick photography. Look, they're tilted into the bowl. They can see in. So, you can see we have a little bit of simmer here on our chicken. We have a little cream, got a little cornstarch, some seasons. We got all of our stuff in here. It's time to drop in our dumplings. So I'm just going to start dropping them in. And what you don't want is dumplings to sink. You want them to float. So you just kind of lightly lay them on the top of the water and let them boil happily. So what we're going to do, boil for about 10 minutes, lid off. Then we're going to boil 10 minutes further, lid on with no pressure. So we're not going to re-pressure cook, but these are going to make a wonderful big giant crust over the top of the chicken, and the flour and from the dough also helps to thicken the juice and make it thicker and juicier and more creamier. So we have just about all of our dumplings in here into the pot. So I have them all in here happily boiling, which I think you can kind of get a good view of. And they're starting to get bubbly and delicious and turn all yellow and happy, which is exactly what we want. I love to make new things for my honey, and I have not ever made him a chicken and dumplings. So it is something that my grandma has made for me in my childhood, but she would not use a canned biscuit. She would have used biscuits or biscuit mix or homemade. So Grandma, if you're watching, I remember. My mom used to cook some crazy concoctions herself, which I know you're watching, a la Louise, which we don't need to recap, was a complete disaster. We lived in Wyoming, where your dinner of choice was what you caught, hunted, or fished. Well, my significant parent in the relationship at the time decided that he had some rabbit that he made, and my mom had never made rabbit before, so we decided that she was going to try to make this rabbit. So she boiled the rabbit, and she baked the rabbit, and she fried the rabbit, and she diced the rabbit, and she deboned the rabbit, and she chopped it up and put it in soup and rice, and she did everything to try to make this rabbit edible, which I am really sad to say was probably the biggest catastrophe of her cooking experience in my memory. But it was affectionately named a la Louise, which then became any day that we took everything out of leftovers out of the refrigerator and threw it in a pan and made it into something wonderful. But there's a funny memory for you. So I know my mom will enjoy that story. I bet you're laughing right now. But anyway, so my dumplings are great and fluffy and loving every minute of being in this juice. And they're all big and rised, and see how delicious that is. So now we're going to put the lid on, and we're going to let them cook for about 10 minutes. And then I will be back with you, and we'll serve up some yummy chicken and dumplings with no vegetables. Don't get it, but hey, works for Sid. Hello, I'm back. Let's look at our lovely dumplings. I think we're ready to turn them off and put them just down to warm. They're so fluffy, and the sauce did thicken. Everything looks delicious. We just need it to cool down. A little hot. But we do need our taste tester to get a little flavor. Taste of this. going to get some dumplings. Let me get a ladle. Get some chicken. Some dumpling. I'll get another ladle. Some of the juice. Ooh, look at that deliciousness. So we've got our dish here. As you can see the dumplings. Let's cut one. Nice and fluffy and delicious inside. They're so good and delicious. It's gonna be yummy. So here's our chicken and dumplings. So there you go. See you next time.